You want to know why ignoring an avoidant makes them fixated? It's not punishment, it's calm. Here's what's really interesting about human relationships. Most people think love is shown by chasing someone. We run after them. We send the first text. We keep explaining our feelings over and over, hoping if we say it the right way, they'll finally understand. But with someone who has an avoidant attachment style, chasing doesn't bring closeness. It pushes them away. For the avoidant, love often feels overwhelming, like it takes away their space. So the things you believe show care and devotion are actually what make them fear losing themselves in another person. When you stop chasing, a shift happens. The energy changes completely. You move from anxiety to calm self-respect. And that quiet, you're quiet, becomes the strongest message you could ever give. You're not saying, please notice me. You're saying, I notice myself. This one shift changes the whole dynamic. Avoidants aren't cold or heartless. They can love. They just learn to survive emotional closeness differently. Many grew up seeing love as unstable or conditional, something to earn, something tied to invisible rules. Maybe they had to behave a certain way to get affection, or maybe love felt too intense or inconsistent. So they learned to pull back when someone got close, not because they don't care, but because closeness feels like losing control. Now think about what happens when you stop chasing. You remove the emotional pressure that keeps them guarded. Suddenly, they don't have to protect their space or independence. They don't prepare for emotional demands. They finally get to breathe. And in that breathing space, something new emerges. Awareness. Your quiet becomes their mirror. It lets them feel, think, notice what's missing. For the first time, your connection doesn't feel like duty. It feels like choice. And that matters because avoidants want one thing above all: emotional safety. They want to know they can be close without losing themselves. Stopping the chase isn't abandoning them. It shows what real safety looks like. It shows love doesn't have to chase to exist. It can exist quietly, steadily, confidently, without panic or desperation. Inside them, this is fascinating. The avoidant nervous system reacts to space with curiosity, not stress. When you step back, you stop triggering their anxiety. Instead of seeing you as controlling, they see you as calm. That calm draws them in. Your quiet becomes magnetic. It's one of the big paradoxes of connection. When you stop needing someone, they start feeling safe, wanting you. That's when they notice all the little things. Your calm energy, absence of drama, quiet strength in walking away without anger. That steadiness becomes unforgettable. Avoidants don't trust chaos, they trust consistency. Your quiet is consistent. It shows boundaries without words. What you're really saying is, I'm not here to control you. I'm not here to convince you. You're free to come when ready. That freedom is exactly what an avoidant secretly wants. It lets them approach love at their pace. It gives safety without feeling trapped. There's something almost poetic about it. Love doesn't need proof, it needs feeling. Real connection invites, it doesn't demand. Through your quiet, you teach that love doesn't have to chase or shout. It can whisper, rest, and still hold power. That's emotional maturity. It's not easy to stay silent. It's not easy to stop defending your worth. But in that silence, transformation starts, for them and for you. Stopping the chase takes back your power. You see, love isn't about convincing anyone to stay. Your value doesn't depend on it. Silence isn't emptiness, it's clarity. It's where truth rises. And in that truth, you see something important. Your worth was never about how hard you tried to be loved. It was in how deeply you loved yourself. Here's the twist. The moment you let go, the avoidant feels your absence, not because of punishment, but because your energy shifted. You stop trying to control how they see you. You stop managing the story. That peace, that lack of control, finally gets their attention. They feel the space where your energy was. They see that your love wasn't the problem, their fear was. That's the turning point. Silence ends the chase. It ends the idea that love must be earned. It teaches freedom without fear, closeness without control, space without separation. If you've stopped chasing an avoidant and wonder what to do next, it's simple. Stay still. Let your quiet speak. Let your calm energy show that love doesn't need to fight to exist. Sometimes the strongest "I love you" isn't spoken, it's felt in stillness. One of the hardest truths in relationships with avoidance is this: your love, however real, can feel like pressure. You can be kind, patient, and sincere. Yet if you're always trying to close the distance, they feel trapped, not loved. Why? For an avoidant, love that demands emotional performance feels unsafe. It recalls every time vulnerability brought pain. The best message isn't "I love you, please open up." It's "I see you, and I'm not here to fix you." That lowers their guard because it's rare. Acceptance without an agenda. "I understand your struggle and I won't try to change it." That love touches beyond emotion. It connects to the nervous system. Avoidants treat intimacy like a threat. They want love, but their mind and body learn to link love with losing safety. If you try to fix them or constantly prove love, you reinforce fear. They feel pulled into something uncontrollable. That's why they pull away. Not from lack of care, but to breathe. But something beautiful happens when you step back. The space you create allows them to see love differently. Your presence is no longer pressure, it's calm. They can approach love safely, at their pace. Everything changes the moment you stop trying to fix them. You give them permission to be as they are. You say, "You don't have to perform to make me comfortable." That's when real connection starts. Not when someone changes to be loved, but when they feel safe being themselves. Ironically, that safety is what begins to change them. Acceptance opens doors that pressure always shuts. That's the part most people miss. Avoidants don't run from love. They run from emotional pressure disguised as love. They want to know that even when they're imperfect, they are still respected. When your energy shifts from breaking through walls to simply being present, they begin to relax. You become the one person who doesn't make them feel wrong for needing space. That doesn't mean accepting neglect. It means you stop begging to be seen and start seeing yourself. You lead with understanding instead of panic. You speak less and listen more. You stop asking, "What's wrong with you?" and start saying, "I understand this is hard for you." That isn't weakness, it's strength. Loving someone with awareness instead of control takes courage. It's the difference between love that possesses and love that understands. Possessive love says, "I'll love you when you meet my needs." Understanding love says, "I'll love you while you learn to meet your own." That's higher, conscious love, the kind that truly reaches an avoidant heart. When you stop trying to fix them, they begin to see you differently. You become safe. You become the calm they never knew they needed. That calm draws them closer, not because you begged, but because you allowed. You stop chasing love and start being love. You let your stillness speak louder than words. Remember this: no one heals through pressure. People heal through presence. When someone feels accepted as they are, their body relaxes, their mind calms, and they begin to link closeness with peace instead of panic. That's when real healing begins, not because you fixed them, but because your acceptance showed them they were never broken. Here's the deeper truth about love. We're taught that loving someone means changing them or helping them become better. But mature love isn't about reshaping someone to fit our comfort. It's about standing beside them long enough for them to unfold naturally. You teach through example. You show that calm love exists. You become the steady energy they didn't believe in. Sometimes that means saying less, doing less, keeping your peace even when they distance themselves. Every time you react to their pulling away with fear, you confirm their worry. Every time you respond with calm self-respect, you teach safety. When you say, "I see you and I'm not trying to fix you," you're not giving up. You're growing up. You're choosing connection over control. You're saying, "I love you enough to let you be yourself, even when it's uncomfortable." That love is strength, not surrender. You can't heal someone who doesn't feel safe, but you can help them feel safe enough to heal themselves. It all begins with your energy, boundaries, and understanding that love isn't rescuing, it's respecting. Next time you feel like chasing, explaining, or fixing, pause, breathe. Remember, acceptance isn't weakness, it's one of the strongest forms of love. Hold that space long enough, and one day the avoidant who ran from closeness will realize you were never a threat, you were home. There's a moment that changes everything. When you love an avoidant, it's the moment you stop needing them to choose you. The moment you understand love built on chasing isn't love, it's fear. Avoidants fall for those who stand in their worth, not those who chase. For someone who spent life running from emotional chaos, calm confidence feels like home. When you stop chasing, something shifts inside. You're no longer trying to prove your worth or get constant reassurance. You're living it. You're silently saying, "I'll be okay, whether you stay or not." That quiet truth speaks louder than any words. It's the energy of emotional independence, the silent message the avoidant needs but can't ask for. Avoidants don't want to hurt you. They're not punishing or playing games. They're protecting themselves from emotional closeness that feels too heavy. Long ago, they learned that getting too close often means losing control. So distance became safety. Everything shifts when you stop reacting to their withdrawal. When your calm doesn't depend on them, you flip the emotional dynamic. Avoidants control closeness, timing, and emotion because they've never trusted love to be steady. When you stay centered and don't get pulled into their detachment, something powerful happens. You become the peace they've never felt. You're no longer part of the chaos in their world. That's when curiosity replaces fear. People are drawn to what they can't easily control. Your calm becomes the one thing they can't predict or manipulate. That quiet, steady peace becomes magnetic. Peace feels foreign to avoidance, and humans are drawn to what's new but safe. Without words, you show that love doesn't have to mean losing themselves. You model a steady, grounded connection free from control. Love gains depth here. Real love isn't dependency. It's two whole people choosing each other, not two halves clinging out of fear. When you embody, "I'll be okay without you," you aren't rejecting them. You're honoring love itself. Love that demands isn't love, it's attachment. Real love allows. It gives space. It stays strong even in uncertainty. Avoidants feel this energy. They notice when you stop explaining yourself. They notice when you stop seeking validation. They notice when your peace no longer depends on their behavior. That's when they see you differently, not as a chaser, but as someone who understands them. That's powerful because their greatest fear is being swallowed by someone else's emotions. When you show love without losing yourself, you become the safest person they know. Ironically, what pulls the avoidant back isn't pursuit, it's your peace, your choice to stop chasing, stop begging, stop performing to be seen. That shakes them in a good way. Deep down, they don't want to control forever. They want rest. They want to feel safe opening up without losing themselves. Your calm, confidence gives them that safety. Psychologically, this change runs deep. When you stop depending on their approval, you move from an anxious state to a calm one. You shift from emotional reaction to emotional control, and as your nervous system calms, theirs naturally begins to mirror it. Psychologists call this co-regulation. When one person's calmness helps the other feel safe enough to lower their guard, you teach the avoidant how to feel safe in love, not with words, but with your energy. That's the true power of emotional steadiness. You're no longer chasing reactions. You're leading with quiet certainty. Your energy says, "I choose peace over panic." And that message speaks louder than words ever could. It builds respect. And deep down, respect is what every avoidant wants most. They need to feel that the person beside them doesn't rely on them for emotional survival. That's what earns trust. That's what opens the heart. Avoidants don't want someone who disappears when they pull away. They want someone who stays steady, someone who doesn't crumble when they need space, someone whose worth isn't tied to closeness, but to presence. That's what makes you unforgettable. That's what makes you stand out in a world full of need and noise. The key is that you do this not to get them back, but because you've grown. You've learned peace is more powerful than pursuit. Self-worth speaks louder than begging for attention. Whether they return or not is no longer the question. The real victory is standing firm in your own emotional strength. When you reach that level of self-respect, you stop performing for love. You stop trying to earn what should be freely given. You stop chasing people who confuse peace with boredom and love with control. When that happens, everything in your relationships changes because you have changed. So if you wonder what an avoidant secretly needs to hear once you stop chasing, it's this: I care about you, but I'll be okay without you. That truth frees both of you. Love isn't proven by pursuit, it's proven by peace. There's a quiet moment of understanding when you realize this. Love isn't a cage, it's a choice. And for the avoidant, that understanding is rare. Their experience with love has been shaped by fear. Fear of losing control, fear of being consumed, fear of repeating the chaos that closeness once brought. To them, love has never felt free. It's felt like confinement. But when you stop chasing, stop explaining, stop proving your worth, something remarkable happens. You rewrite what love means for them. Your calmness, your silence, your emotional steadiness all begin to send a new message. I'm not here to trap you. I'm here to choose you freely, and you can choose me freely too. That's when everything shifts. For the first time, love feels safe. Avoidants don't respond to pressure, they respond to peace. They don't open up when closeness is demanded. They open up when they feel safe, knowing that connection won't cost them their sense of self. That's exactly what your stillness shows them. It proves that love doesn't need control or persuasion. It can exist in space, alive, real, and not suffocating. Think about it. How many times have you held on so tightly that you lost your peace? How many times have you mistaken intensity for intimacy? The avoidant teaches you something profound, not through words but through experience. Real connection only exists when both people feel free to stay by choice, not fear. That's the paradox. The tighter you hold, the more they slip away. The moment you let go, not in anger, but in trust, you create space for love to breathe. That's what avoidants crave. They want to love without being controlled. They want to stay and feel like themselves. This touches on a deep human need, autonomy. Everyone wants agency over their own life. When you stop trying to control how the relationship unfolds, you give both of you freedom. You let them choose, and at the same time, reclaim your own power. That's when love balances again. Many people don't see it, but avoidants don't crave distance. They crave freedom inside connection. They want to feel they can love without disappearing. When your energy shifts from control to calm confidence, you show that love doesn't mean losing independence, it means sharing it. That's what draws them back. Not tears, messages, or longing, but your peace. Your calm detachment proves you're not trying to own them, only to understand them. You're no longer saying, I need you. You're saying, I see you. And that recognition changes everything because it speaks to something deeper than attraction. It speaks to trust. Love without freedom is possession. Love with freedom becomes real connection. When you stop defining love through control, you give both people room to show up fully. You stop pretending, stop manipulating outcomes to feel safe. Instead, you build a connection grounded in respect, and respect is where intimacy grows. The most powerful thing you can say to an avoidant is, you can go and I'll still wish you peace. That isn't weakness, it's strength. It shows a kind of love that doesn't need to hold someone tight to feel secure. It says, I trust you to make your own choices, and I trust myself to be okay no matter what you decide. That's emotional maturity, that's growth. You're not walking away, you're allowing them to experience real love. Love without control, fear, or manipulation. And that's when something amazing happens. When they realize you never tried to own them, they start to miss you. They see that your love never took away their freedom. It gave them peace in that quiet space. They reflect. They remember that your love didn't demand, chase, or beg. It simply existed. That kind of love stays with a person long after everything else fades. It lingers because it was real. When you understand love is a choice, not a cage, you stop fighting for control. You stop playing emotional chess. You stand in truth. The most powerful love doesn't cling, it allows. Freedom doesn't destroy love, it defines it. So next time your heart wants to chase, explain, or prove, pause. Remember this, you're not here to convince anyone to stay. You're here to become someone peaceful enough to let them go if they must. That's real strength. That's real love. And when love is rooted in freedom, it doesn't need to be chased. It naturally returns. The love meant for you will never need control. It will choose you willingly, fully, and without fear.